When we think about space exploration, our minds often turn to the more technical aspect of the mission, the spacecraft, the scientific instruments, and the data. But there's also the more human aspect, our reasons for space exploration, what we hope to discover, and what this says about us. In 1977, a spacecraft was launched to explore the outer reaches of the solar system and the interstellar space that waited beyond. In addition to the usual scientific instruments, however, the spacecraft also carried an artifact known as the Golden Record. This record was meant to serve as a means for communication between humanity and any extraterrestrial civilization that may have encountered it as it made its way across the cosmos. Like a message in a bottle, the Golden Record was a message from all humanity, sent across the cosmic seas of the Milky Way. The idea for the Golden Record originated with a committee of scientists and thinkers. Carl Sagan believed that while the record could be used to establish contact with other intelligent beings in the universe, it needed to be crafted to reflect the best of humanity and the diversity of life on Earth. This was dangerous, of course. The message could be interpreted in any number of ways, which may never have crossed our minds. It's difficult enough to translate dead languages into live ones, let alone human languages into alien languages. If the message was crafted wrong, then we've just broadcast our cosmic coordinates to any species in the universe who may wish to eradicate us. As such, the message had to be crafted right and express our earnest desire for communication. So, what was on the record? The committee took over a year to decide on what exactly to include. There are 115 images on the record, including the solar system, the structure of DNA, and the anatomy of the human body. There are images of different human cultures and their traditions. And other human artifacts such as food, clothing, and architecture. There are also audio recordings. There are greetings spoken in 55 different languages, ranging from common languages like English and Mandarin to less common languages like Hittite and Akkadian. There's also a selection of music, including Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven, even Chuck Berry. In addition to the human-centric focus, there are also images of animals, plants, and natural landscapes and sounds. Besides the actual content of the record, it needed to be able to withstand the extreme conditions of the universe. The cover of the record was made from aluminium, electroplated with the isotope uranium-235, which has a half-life of over 4 billion years. The front of the record contains a handmade inscription: "To the makers of music, all worlds, all times." Since its launch in 1977, the Golden Record has traveled further away from the Earth than any other human-made object. It's now traveled beyond the outermost bodies in the solar system and continues its mission into interstellar space. The darkness of the universe here is absolute, and the conditions are cold and lonely. However, the Golden Record is a light in the darkness, and as Carl Sagan once said, it represents hope for this little planet in its little corner of the universe. The Golden Record is a wonderful idea, but what does it mean? For all we know, there is no other life in the universe. Even if there is, the differences between us and them could be so massive that the record may not function as a means of communication. The record only works if we assume that the aliens that discover it are similar to us in their anatomy, consciousness, and science. Even if we assume that the aliens could, in principle, use the record, the spacecraft that carries it is a mote of dust in a massive universe. We can't see it with our best telescopes, let alone aliens that don't know of its existence and have to detect it against the darkness of space. The spacecraft has no set destination, and so it'll likely drift across interstellar space and may never be received. Our message in a bottle may sink to the bottom of the cosmic ocean. The Golden Record is a scientific achievement, but from a scientific perspective, it's a meaningless action. It's not a rational decision of scientific deliberation to send a spacecraft into space when there's no evidence of aliens anywhere in the universe. It's literally a wish on a star, more hopes and dreams than science and reason. However, perhaps that's not the best perspective to examine the Golden Record, and in fact, perhaps it's better examined with existentialism. The existentialist philosopher Søren Kierkegaard often wrote about the nature of religion and the relationship between humans and God. Theologians have often said that God is omniscient and knows all there is to know. However, if this is true, and God already knows the content of our hearts and minds, then what's the purpose of prayer? For Kierkegaard, the purpose of prayer is not to influence God or to change the course of events in the world. Rather, its purpose is to transform the nature of the one who prays. If we keep our misdeeds hidden, we deceive ourselves that we're not sinners. Our flaws and faults will remain in our murky subconscious. However, if we can dredge them and examine them, we make our sins concrete and real, and from this, we can transform our natures. We can develop our spiritual lives and cultivate a deeper connection with the divine. For all we know, the universe is like God in this respect, absolute and infinite. No matter what happens on our planet, and no matter how much we expand our scientific knowledge, we can't transform the universe. However, if we agree with Kierkegaard, perhaps this is to miss the point. I think there's a connection here with the Golden Record. It allows us to communicate with other beings in the universe, sure, but it also functions as a reflection of ourselves. It's a reminder of human existence in all its diverse forms. It's a reminder of our home in the universe and the fragile state of the world. It's a reminder to strive for a deeper connection with creation and to understand the miracle which we experience as consciousness. The Golden Record is a means by which we can humble ourselves before the mysteries of the universe and the existence of the unknowns which transcend our lives here on Earth. It's a reminder that we should care for ourselves, care for others, and care for this lonely rock in space we call home. The choices the committee made about what to include on the record are choices about what represents the human world. The choices forced us to view ourselves in the eyes of the ultimate other, like the first date with a true love. The Golden Record is an artifact of our sounds, our images, our science, our music, our thoughts, and our feelings. Above all else, in our choice about what we wanted to share with the universe, we shared art. If the Golden Record isn't the most poignant reminder of what we value as a species, then I don't know what is. The golden record is not just a scientific achievement, but a human one. It's the ultimate reflection of ourselves and a testament to humanity. It's now beyond the reach of the solar system, but it continues to inspire awe and wonder, and it serves as a reminder of our place in the universe. But perhaps more important, it's a message to future generations. It reminds us to turn our gaze not just to the stars, but also to ourselves. If we were to send a message to the universe now, what would we say? I think it's best to end this video with the words of Carl Sagan. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. Thank you very much for watching, peace and love, and I'll see you in the next video.